Alright. So, yeah. Hey, everyone. I'm Siberian Bull 9. I'm here to do Mega Man X. With me is Dark Shadows 59. And quick shout out to Tokyo Scarab, who is actually the developer of this randomizer. So, I'm going to thank him. So, with that being said, I'm ready to go. If you don't mind counting me down.
So you're ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So you're ready?
Alright, so our flags for this setting is total random as our main flag, along with drunk weapons, drunk movement, and we also turned on I also turned on random stages and random maps. So some of the Mavericks aren't actually going to be in their spot, and as you can clearly see already, we have lemons bouncing off of enemies. So that's going to be fun.
Yeah, total random, just randomizes all of the damage tables. So as Bull said, lemons will bounce. Sometimes you may have charge shots bounce.
Yeah,
so it'll be interesting to see how much damage actually gets done.
Well, let's talk about the slow blue buster right now. This could take a bit. It's going to be great when we get the Storm Eagle. We'll just run into it.
Yeah, with drunk weapon speed, that means each level of charge for the buster will have varying speeds. As you see, the right buster is really slow, but that means when it's going left, it could still be a lot faster. Will have varying speeds. As you see, the right buster is really slow.
I just need to get this cocker to the middle.
A lot faster.
Or enough so that I can at least get behind it without taking too much damage, because that's low starting health, and I'm already not a fan of that. So any thoughts of possibly doing this as a hundo seed is already out the window, because the Hadouken in the randomizer is tied more to health than anything else, and as you can clearly see, X is moving way faster than normal, along with a moon jump, so that's going to be fun.
Yeah, this can randomize both speed and gravity. Luckily, we have the moon jump this time, but I've seen jumps where he barely moves like 5 pixels off the ground.
Yeah, you've made me run one of those seeds.
Luckily, we have the moon jump this time, but I've seen jumps where he... It wasn't that... Okay, yeah, it was that bad.
It was unbeatable.
When you have a randomizer with as many options as we have for this, sometimes you do have to be careful with the amount of options you have turned on. There is an option to minimize the variance of the randomization, but I don't think we're using that option for this, are we?
Full is turned on, but because I turned on random mavs for the stages, I didn't turn on the random boss health, so that's not going to be a thing. Alright, finally off the highway. That buster was fun. Depends on the stage. But... and because of random, I was actually picked Octopus first, and as we can clearly see, I'm actually going to Penguin first. How convenient.
Now, in the vanilla game, this is where you're going to find the dash boots. However, we also have the Dr. Light capsules randomized, so who knows what we'll actually get. Now, in the vanilla game, this is where you're going
as long as it's not the helmet, I'll be happy. I'd like to see the armor. Like, if the 2 capsules I do see first are the armor and the boots, I'll be happy. Because I'll orphan the helmet, and I'll take the charity from Zero. And we got... That's vanilla. That's not even randomized. I swear I turned it on.
You did turn random dash speed on, right?
I did.
You did turn random dash speed on, right? So it looks like we got a short dash with slower than walking speed. So it looks like we got a short dash with slower than walking speed.
Yeah, I was trying to see if I could jump over that peacock. Alright, let's start this part over.
So one of the nice things about this moon jump is it's kind of hard to get hit by ground enemies when you're spending the entire time up on the ceiling. So one of the nice things about this moon jump is it's kind of hard to get hit by ground enemies when you're spending the entire time up on the ceiling.
Yeah, looks like just need to get to that checkpoint. Jeez. The peacocks were not accepting lemons at all. And yes, I pretty much jumped high enough that the graphics aren't loading for those enemies. I'm hoping to abuse that when we get to Octopus Stage and just avoid the subs. Because I am not above abusing things in this randomizer.
Well, it's one of the great things about it when you get settings crazy enough that it just starts breaking. And you see the door just there, the graphics for the door just... Well, it's one of the great things about it when you get settings crazy enough that it just starts breaking. And you see the door just there, the graphics for the door just... Alright, so one of the others... So you're seeing two other settings in effect here. One of them is... custom boss stages are enabled, so it'll either give you the normal stage or it'll give you one of the altered ones, such as you see here. And random Mavericks are also turned on, so instead of Chill Penguin, you see Boomer Quanger, who has a slightly altered pattern with his boomerangs here. And random Mavericks are also turned on, so instead of Chill Penguin, when they just start going all over the place, good luck dodging. When they just start going all over the place, good luck dodging. Now, since Boomer Quanger does have he has a little bit of a nuance here in that since he has no vertical movement, he will always be floating there, and he can grab you even if you're below him. So this could be a little bit difficult, but luckily that useless lemon shot is doing a heaping helping of damage, and take two, Boomer Quanger goes down without taking a hit, without Bolt taking a hit here. Lemon shot is doing a heaping helping of damage, and take two, Boomer Quanger goes down without taking a hit, without Bolt taking a hit here. Now with random stages, random Mavericks, when you beat the stage, you get the stage's weapon, not the Maverick. So even though he just beat Boomer Quanger, it was in Chill Penguin stage, so he's gotten the shotgun eye. So Chill Penguin leading over here to Armored Armadillo, and we're going to see another we're going to see one of the effects of the random stage alterations. This mole here, this mole bot, can move at different speeds. This time he's fairly vanilla-ish. This tunnel can also be modified where it can actually be completely closed off and you'd be required to wait for him. So it didn't happen this time, but it's still better to be safe and just ride in behind him. Oh, looks like he's going to try to get ahead of it and fall right on the spikes. Oof. So we do have infinite lives turned on for this. You can have randomized starting lives or just normal. But for the sake of showcasing it, and most of the time even for races, we'll just run infinite lives. And there's the wall I was talking about. So since he has no way to kill himself to restart the stage, he's going to have to leave and go back in. Yeah, because of situations like that, you can use exit stage at any time. Now, since he did make it through this section here and there wasn't a wall, he knows he can just run straight on through. So that's going to save a little bit of time. And to see, oh, we might have forgotten to start the timer. So he's still going to run through as fast as possible. We just won't know the exact time. So this is probably one of the more annoying parts of the run, just because you have all this speed and you're stuck behind this thing. But at least there's a heart. Now the mole speed could have been randomized to be a lot slower than that, or it could have been so fast that his arm wouldn't actually break everything. You'd have blocks left over. Oh, this is a... with Chill Penguin, this might be a stage. So it looks like the full charge buster actually doesn't do... Oh, yeah, it does do damage. It must have just hit during an invincibility frame. Oh, no. He jumped too high. Somehow Chill Penguin jumped too high and ended up in the ceiling. So this is a... this is another stage reset. So he's probably going to wait and come back to that one after after getting the Flame Mammoth's power. Just that way he can keep in a loop and try to keep that from happening. So Armored Armadillo led over here to Spark Mandrill. Since he doesn't have the Boomerang Cutter, he won't be able to get the one E-Tank. However, he can get, Sub-Tank. E-Tank's a completely different game. Still Mega Man, at least. But with this Moon Jump, he should be able to get the Heart Tank from this stage no problem. Now, since Storm Eagle wasn't beaten first, he has to deal with the electrical attack off of this guy. We'll see if Shotgun Ice does any damage to him. And he just left there. And yes, as Creed's mentioning, there are a few soft lock risks. In our Discord, we do have a lot of them noted, like a lot of the more avoidable ones noted. And we did randomize pretty much all of the physics here. So what Bull's trying to do here is if you try to just jump across without having the screen scroll down first, it won't scroll to the bottom part, and you will actually die from falling into oblivion. Now, what I was hoping to do was jump over this fight and just not have it spawn. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. He still has to do this fight. Speaking of the physics being randomized, even your physics underwater are randomized from the physics on land. And here he's just getting into a fish loop here. So we mentioned the moon jump earlier. It even happens when you come off of a wall. And he just completely skipped the second sub. He's going to forego the heart tank from knocking that sub out and then knocking out the mid boss under it. Unfortunately, he could not skip this mid boss. When you're dealing with randomized damage like we are for this seed, anything locked behind a mid boss becomes a lot less more desirable, just because of not knowing how much work you're going to have to put into it just to get the item behind it. In this case, it's just one heart tank that he's missing, and if he can get the armor, one heart tank is not going to be that big of a deal, especially since with randomized starting health, his health, I believe it started below normal. So even if he wanted to go for Hadoken, it would be impossible because he would not have the required health to grab it. And there's our last mid-boss down, so we'll soon see what is actually at Launch Octopus. And what kind of stage we're dealing with. Alright, so for this Launch Octopus, you can see we've got a platform in the center. It's going to make navigating a little bit odd. And unfortunately taking a death, and almost had him down, but weapon energy does not refill in between deaths, so he won't be able to rely as much on that shotgun ice this time. Now, the different rooms you can have for Launch Octopus, you can have one where pretty much the entire center is a layer of spikes, which is much more difficult to deal with. Or you could have quicksand, where, well, if you drop too low, you'll die to falling off the edge. But luckily, this was one of the more tame ones we could show off, and Bulls got him down. Now, even though the Mavericks are randomized, you will still see the same 8 Mavericks. They just might not be where they're supposed to be, except for Storm Eagle and Flame Mammoth. Those two will always be in their vanilla stages. And now we're seeing Boomer Quanger, who ladder climb speed randomized, and it turned out to be pretty slow. But we have a big enough jump, we can just jump over it, so not going to matter too much. So the speed on this elevator can be randomized. Luckily, we got a tame speed, but it can just go super fast where you can't even... Oh, we're getting up there in speed now. And moving too fast to the left there and just impaling himself on the spikes. Going to have to start all over again. But as I mentioned, that elevator can just have much faster speed than what we saw its fastest there. And you may be required to just wait until after Sting Chameleon get the invisibility to pass through those spike platforms, or just use the enemies that are provided for invincibility frame and just phase through the platforms. And unfortunately, the turtle's not cooperating and just taking him out. And Bull's going to go ahead and decide, I don't have the health for this. We're going to try later. Speaking of Sting Chameleon's weapon... Alright, so there is a capsule available up here, and he's going to go ahead and go for it. Now, this robot is only vulnerable either in its head, or once it shoots its claw at you, it's vulnerable right there in the chest until he retracts the claw. So, with randomized Mavericks, you're unable to roll with the randomized health seed on the bosses. But if you do have that, even the mid-bosses have randomized health, and sometimes they can roll so low that this boss would start out smoking. And smoke just indicates, oh, its health is starting to get kind of low. And Bull's being really careful to try to prevent a soft lock. If you manage to actually deal damage when he would be invulnerable, then he would just soft lock and you wouldn't be able to actually do anything to him. We got vanilla body armor. Is this even randomized? So with the randomized physics, this isn't as easy as it looks. I mean, yeah, he's got speed for days and jumps for... Oh! I only just now noticed his speed sliding down the wall is ridiculously fast. You see one of the other effects of the random stage effects. Normally there's not pits down there. Then who needs a mech to get through this section when you can move that fast? Of course, if you jump while standing still, you don't get that speed. And this time we got a spark mandrill. And this is going to be one of the problems with that moon jump is he can jump right up into the spikes there. Even though damage is randomized, the shotgun ice will still freeze him, so it's still a good weapon even if it were to do hardly any damage. Unfortunately, taking a death to the spikes up there. With that raised platform, unfortunately, there is a soft block risk in that if he were to kill Spark Mandrill while he was not on that center platform, Mega Man would try to walk to the center to claim the reward. However, that platform would be in the way, he can't walk through it, and thus would perpetually be just walking to the center. But taking care of business there. Now, if you're racing or speed running, you'll notice how quickly he goes through the weapon acquire screen, and that's just to save time for him. If you're just running as casually, what you can do is just wait on that screen to see the test fire of the weapon and see what kind of properties it's going to have. Since we have drunk weapons on, that Chameleon Sting, normally it's a 3-way shot. However, it could do some crazy stuff. Because of what we have on. Now, normally helmet is required to get up there. However, since due to randomized X capsules, the helmet could end up there. So those blocks are removed and the spring added just to make sure that capsule's not locked behind itself. But we got full vanilla capsules this time. So because of that and the fact that we're not going for the Hadoken, I wouldn't be surprised to see the helmet upgrade in Storm Eagle stage skipped. Yes, the password system does work. I'm not sure if the passwords are, like, certain passwords that you know from vanilla, I'm not sure if they're randomized or how exactly that works. So for Flame Mammoth, we have a lowered ceiling here, so anyone that likes to camp the top corners and take them out that way, I'm sorry for you. That doesn't work on this seed. So everything's going all right for now. So when he reverses the direction of the conveyor, he can actually turn parts of the floor into either spikes or lava. So we got lucky that that didn't happen this seed. And next up, we're going to have Storm Eagle, and this is the other boss that cannot change its location. Really easy heart container with these kinds of jumps, and everyone, please ignore the sky. So if I remember, there actually is a way for this to happen in vanilla, but it's a lot harder to pull off. And it looks like, for our sakes, he is going to go ahead and go for this helmet upgrade. And random stage effects giving make it a little bit more difficult. The speed that these capsules can rise out of the ground is also randomized. They could be a lot slower, or they could be instant speed. Now, the helmet doesn't have a lot of use. It just breaks the blocks from below. And the only real practical use we have for it is if you're running through Sting Chameleon stage where all the rocks fall down. But he's already done that, so at this point the helmet's just there, unfortunately. And we're about to head on over here to Storm Eagle. So he normally likes to push you around a lot, but with the kind of speed that Siberian Bull has, I don't think there's going to be a problem. Test out to see which weapons, and that's a lot of damage off that fire. Random ammo costs are on too, and I don't think I've seen a fire wave that rolled that favorably before. Roasted endangered bird indeed. So we've only got 3 stages left, and we've seen all 3 stages. It's just the question of, does Siberian Bull remember which stages lead to them? So we found Armored Armadillo. This should be... he's got the fire wave to deal with the penguin, so... double birds. Double flame-broiled birds. Creed mentioning there is a way to bypass that. I'm pretty sure it's unintentional, and it'll probably be patched out in a future version of the randomizer. But if you highlight the stage, like highlight the boss's portrait, and then move your cursor to the center of it, where it actually shows the the environment of the stage and enter through there, it'll take you to that stage and not the random stage. For the sake of actually showing things off, though, we're not cheating it. Go on a nice little minecart ride and back to the penguin. And this time he didn't jump too high, so we don't have a soft lock yet. I think what caused it is, if you'll notice, the ground for Armored Armadillo stage is higher than Chill Penguins. So he'll jump the same height, but I believe that's what caused him to jump too high. But we got the bird taken out. Not flame broiled this time, just exploded by missiles. Going over Spark Mandrill next, and since Storm Eagle's been defeated, you'll notice the dark theme with this stage. Also means once we get to the mid-boss, his lightning attack will be disabled, so all he can do is run into you. As Storm Tornado just making quick work of the boss. Tornado's actually one of my favorite weapons in the randomizer just because of some of the things it can do. Since its speed is randomized, it can pretty much just stay in place. And against certain bosses, you can just kill them with a single tornado just by letting it stay right on top of them. Since the Chameleon Sting hasn't really been doing much as a weapon, Bull's just going to use it as invisibility just to skip through the entire stage. And oh hey, we got a Sting Chameleon. So the random stage layout gave us a small platform to the right there. Definitely not the most disruptive thing. That's mildly concerning. So Sting Chameleon's weakness, because of the total random setting, he's not taking damage from it. The rolling shield, however, is putting in work, even if it is slow as molasses. So now we just have Boomer Quanger left. But this is not the right stage. Yeah, so that's actually a specific setting in the randomizer, is that shooting left or right changes the speed of the weapon. You can set it to where it's vanilla, or you can set it to where it's the same if you shoot left or right. For the sake of fun, we decided, you know what, let's just have it different. And now we found the stage. Hey, you know what? He found it once. It was either just cheat to get it or just keep going. Now, unfortunately, the platform only moves if it's on screen, so he can't just turn invisible and then just jump up the shaft. So normally there's this whole ladder climbing thing where you gotta kill all the bugs, kill the cannons, climb up here. But we have invisibility. We have moon jump. It's not really a problem. Last up, we should have Armored Armadillo. There's a small change to this stage in that you see the blue bars up front to obscure you, and oh my gosh, that is a fast armadillo. So even if the spark shot isn't what's really powerful against him, you still want to drop the one shot just to break his armor. And without the armor, it's a pretty quick kill. Assuming he doesn't bounce around like he did at the start. Now we got the first stage of our Sigma climb. Normally, when you climb up here, at least what I do is use the Armored Armadillo shield, so that way those things can't hurt you. But with the random damage, it still might not break. I mean, it still might not kill them, and the shield will break. Of course, when you just jump up there, it works out. So Bull's going to go ahead and lower his health, so that way it makes Vile quicker. Opting not to try the Vile skip, with the extra jump height and the moon jump, it would make it a bit difficult, actually. Part of the Vile skip is you have to slide down that right wall and hit the door. However, when you come off the wall, that's when you actually initiate a moon jump, and you just pop up. So he would have to come off the wall, pop up, and then angle himself into the door without touching the wall. So, yeah, not exactly a fun time. Actually, those of you not familiar with Vile Skip, all it just skips the cutscenes that we saw before the fight. So with the physics changes we have, probably more trouble than it's worth. And Vile is just taking the business to Bull here. And some of those cutter shots are not cooperating, just short range cutter. To the left, anyway. Now, if you don't already have the Buster upgrade, Zero will give it to you here. Since we've already got it, it's just, hey, go save the world! Now, for 2 health, yeah, I think it was trying to get through it, but in all honesty, since you're just going to end up right here, it's probably worth it just to take the death there and get the health refill. Having all this movement is really fun to play, but it also does pose its own challenge, and that looked like a ladder zip. So these Mavericks are also randomized, so you see we've got an octopus out of water. And Bull's going to try to cut the tentacles off. This octopus is proving to be a bit tanky. Normally you can just spam lemon shots in order to kill the missiles as they come at you, but with that randomized damage, those lemon shots are just bouncing off. So he's got him down. We're going to be moving on to our second Maverick fairly quickly. It's just a short hallway. Just trying to fill up a little bit here. We got Bow Spider, our first boss of the Sigma Tower. Now, sometimes you can actually hit it, even though it's supposed to be invincible, when it's on its way back up to the top of the room. Right now, just trying to find a weapon that's going to do a decent chunk of damage to it. Unfortunately, it looks like the Storm Tornado is not going to do anything. Never mind, that was just happened to keep hitting it right as it was going invincible. They're doing decent damage. Other great thing about the tornado in this fight is that it's going to easily take care of all the little baby spiders. Anyone who's got arachnophobia, don't worry, this boss is about to die. Getting a couple of cheap shots at the end, though. So as of right now, the Sigma stage bosses don't really have any randomization to them, with the exception of Wolf Sigma, the final boss. Now the Mavericks along the way will still be randomized, as well as I actually don't think certain parts of their stages are randomized though. It's just going to be the bosses. Everyone say hello to your favorite Speedy Boy. Now, one-hit KO is an option. Like, you can just manually turn it on for seeds if you want. If you got that with him, I feel sorry for you. A short little climb here to Storm Eagle. Once again, not randomized because of how his stage is. So, anyone want seconds on their barbecue eagle? Was that eagle flying to the right, but actually going left? That's a little weird. So we have this stage. So yeah, we have one more stage after this, and the final bosses. So we are almost done. Unfortunately, with Randomania, with the random damage, it randomizes for each piece. So even though the flame's doing a lot of damage to one of the eyes as well as the nose, it's not doing anything to that left eye. Oh, I must have seen it wrong. Never mind. So as long as Sigma cooperates, probably another 10 minutes, and we'll see Sigma go down. Spark Mandrill being immune to the full charge shot. Shotgun Eye still doing fairly decent damage, so we can keep him frozen. Bull's just going to go invisible and skip everything on the way to the next boss. this would be Sting Chameleon stage. You can tell by the spikes on the top, but it's Chill Penguin this time. Hopefully he doesn't decide to peace out above the spikes. And Bolt got a bit lucky there, not getting tagged while he was frozen. The snow effect that you saw, yeah, it's just due to its location. It caused a little bit of a graphical bug there. If you kill him in the middle of that attack, then that effect will persist until you die, or until you beat the stage. Since this isn't his home arena, there are no spikes up on top, so Bull's going to have free reign just to hang out up there and pelt him with these rolling shield shots. Unfortunately, if you shoot to the right, it is slow as molasses and just drops like a rock. I think that spark shot just did no damage to the fish. But next up, it should be Boomer Quanger, and then we'll have Flame Mammoth, and onto our final boss of, or our second to last, sorry, our boss of the second to last Sigma stage. And not even giving Boomer Quanger a chance to shoot boomerangs this time. Really don't want to dodge all those random projectiles. So since the stage itself can't be randomized, you'll have the full ceiling to work with for Flame Mammoth, so that's a nice change of pace. Unfortunately, the base Boomerang Cutter not doing any damage, so that's not going to take the trunk off, but it looks like he's doing full charge shots to try to get it anyway. And there goes the trunk. So, no more oil coming out of there. He's still got the flamethrower, though. There goes Flame Mammoth, just going right the conveyor all the way to the door. So this boss doesn't have any real changes to it. The question is going to be how much damage is he going to be able to inflict with what he's got. And it looks like the Boomerang Cutter is going to do some decent damage. Oh, and taking a death to the tank there, he's going to have to try again. And he used up a lot of Boomerang Cutter ammo. So he's going to have to improvise. Oh, he got comboed there. He got knocked up into the center there and smashed on him. Fortunately, he has enough ammo to finish the job here. We're going to go on to the final Sigma stage. So the question is he going to take the time to fill up his sub-tanks? There are a couple little holes on the way to the top where enemies will come out and you can just farm health to fill sub-tanks, but he's just going to skip right past them. Vanilla Buster's doing a little bit of damage, so Shotgun Ice. Never mind, Shotgun Ice is doing a lot of damage. It took 2 hits on first phase. That's not terrible. That's probably the most random part of it in Vanilla. Trying his Vanilla weakness of Spark Shot and getting nothing out of it. Storm Tornado is going to do some decent damage. This is where the Moon Jump is going to mess with him. He's going to stay up on the ceiling for an extended period of time. And he has to account for that when trying to get below Sigma so he doesn't slam into him. But we're going on to Wolf Sigma, the final phase. And, oh yeah, the randomizer does kind of mess with his patterns a bit. So you can see that left hand just decided to go off into space. The right hand's taking its sweet time to get back into place. Rolling Shield's not doing a lot of damage. It might do well enough though. Now his flamethrower is pretty much vanilla, but his blue shots, they can go all over the place. But that is Wolf Sigma down for Siberian Bull 9. And I do love the end credits music for this. It's really nice and tranquil after after that kind of a fight. Siberian's saying that Seed wasn't very kind. And looking at the damage tables that he had, I kind of have to agree with him on that. Weapon choices weren't exactly that great, and being so limited on what you can do with the Buster. So, while we do have Wind Waker up next, we are running into a slight delay. So, I'm wondering if maybe we should show a seed with a few other settings and see how far we can get into it before we get set up for Wind Waker. I just got word on Bull that he's got another seed ready. So until they let us know that Wind Waker is ready, we'll go ahead and show you under a few different settings, so that way you can see more of what the randomizer has available. So for this seed, everything else is going to be the same, except we have boss health randomized, and puzzle mode will be on instead of total random. So what puzzle mode does is each boss has two things they're vulnerable to. And when I say two things, each charge level of the Buster is considered something that can be vulnerable, as well as each different weapon and the full charge of that weapon. So he's got a really nice B-copter here that was vulnerable to the vanilla shot. And it looks like his movement options are pretty good too. Got fast movement, but the jump isn't too overbearing on its height. And the starting health is really nice too. Math Girl letting us know they'll be ready. Wind Waker will be ready soon. Just getting the message that random stages are still on for this. That looks like a vanilla stage to me, though. Alright, so it looks like we're going to do Storm Eagle first. Not quite high enough to get that heart tank right off the start, but he could probably make it over there. I just noticed while his jump height is fairly decent, it also looks like his fall speed's a bit faster than normal. We still have that really slow buster shot to the right. So when we get over to the spot with the capsule, you may notice that he does not have the fire wave. You can break those fire capsules without the fire wave. It just takes a lot more shots. And one of the minor annoyances of that blue charge shot still being on screen is he can't charge another shot while that's there. Now, the reason why he went ahead and went up that wall is to trigger the checkpoint, so just in case he dies over here trying to get this, he won't have to do the entire stage again. Also, his wall cling there, instead of being a super fast downward slide like last time, it's actually a little bit upward slide there, as he falls into the pit. It's depending on your physics, that's not an easy jump to make. In fact, on the way back, sometimes we'll just take the death. Now, since his wall cling there is cooperating, it makes that a lot easier to get in. And that was a really quick capsule. And unfortunately, the helmet. Yeah, Don, there are a lot of really good randomizers out there. Not just this one, but we've got the Wind Waker one coming up next. We had the Final Fantasy that's actually been around for quite a while that you saw before this one. Now, I'm pretty sure that within a couple of days, they'll start uploading the VODs of these up onto YouTube for people to watch. So randomized health is on, so you can see Storm Eagle has a lot less health than he did earlier. So he had to go ahead and leave that stage, even though he got to the boss. Because with puzzle mode, they're only vulnerable to 2 different types of shots. And unfortunately, he was not vulnerable to what Siberian Bull has right now. So what he has is the vanilla shot, the green shot, and the blue shot. Just your base buster upgrades. And since he's not vulnerable to those, he has to leave and come back later when he has what the weakness actually is. Alright, so it looks like Wind Waker is ready to go, so thanks for watching. It's been Dark Shadows 59. You saw Siberian Bull playing, and we're going to hand it over to Don and the rest of the Wind Waker players and commentators.